FOMO, fear of missing out. I hate FOMO. It leads us all to make awful, awful mistakes.
Is it just me, or is it hard to agree with what you're trying to explain?
Absolute worst thing you can do is rush.
Don't mind feather wings, no diamond rings, but that's not how you get to me, no.
Morning. You wouldn't believe it, but we're in the woods again. And what I don't believe is the fog. It rarely lingers around these parts, but yeah, hell, this is just amazing. This is my local woods. I love coming here at all times of the year, but particularly autumn and winter. Now, over the last few days, we've had some very cold temperatures. And, well, I say very cold temperatures. I mean, it's winter, you know, it's been nudging 0. And today, as I was driving here, the car was saying -2. It's glorious. Now, when was I last here? Just last week, 4 days ago, something like that. And there's still a lot of trees with leaves on. We've had some wind, we've had the cold weather. That has changed. There are now very few trees with leaves on. That's changed the place entirely. But what, of course, changes the place entirely every day are the weather conditions. And it's rare that we get sustained, thick fog like this. And this is not a path that I walk through these woods very often. I should, because it's bloody marvellous. That half going down for those 50, 60 feet or so, big open space behind there. And the breeze, the air coming this way is very chilly. And you can see this in the way that what's exposed of the small twigs and such here have been subjected to a lot of frost coming in that direction, i.e. this side, barely anything. That side, covered in frost. It's lovely. It's creating some wonderful, wonderful kind of ethereal highlight. And as I stand here, I'm looking around, there's a scene behind me that I want to shoot before the fog disappeared, although it doesn't know about it. There's a chance of that for some time. And as I've been looking around whilst talking to you, I spied a lovely tree down there, which is very sculptural and structural. That's very nice. Nicely separated in the fog, which wouldn't be at any other time, because at other times it's just going to be a massive, confused limbs and a writhing around with all the other confused limbs. Though I might get something out of that. Straight ahead of me, I think I'm walking into, you just about see some of it, a kind of a thicket of silver birch. And there's a lovely golden yellowy carpet on the floor as well. Absolutely beautiful spot. I can't see myself moving from here for quite some time. So if you want to see what I hope, let's face it, what I hope are going to be some awesome photographs of a misty woodland, then this is definitely the video to keep watching. I say that without having recorded anything much yet, but you know, who knows? Recorded? Snapped. Oh God, no, snap. That's wrong as well. Jesus, shut up, Andy. Shut up. You're ruining a decent tucket. Well, I often struggle with woodland scenes, and this was no exception. So the shot over there that I spoke about, I don't think I got anything. I'll review them when I get back home and see what there was. But I wasn't serious about anything. It was all handheld, kind of playing about. It looked great to the eye, but I don't think I got a shot. So I thought, well, stick to what you know. Yeah, if you want to get a good shot today, rather than faffing, not as though I'm in a rush, but you know, you do always worry that you're going to lose this fog sooner than you'd like. Doesn't look like I'm going to, but you know, you kind of get concerned that your opportunities are running out. It's FOMO, fear of missing out. I hate FOMO. It leads us all to make awful mistakes. Whether it's a photographic error, whether it's buying something you really don't need, whether it's relationships, whether it's loads and loads of things. FOMO is an absolute killer. It's also one of the biggest motivators, so bear that in mind next time someone tells you that their air fryer is the biggest thing or the best thing in sliced bread, all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm kind of waffling, but yeah, careful of FOMO. Right, stick to what you know is where I was. So, shapes. I just came for shape, or rather, I looked for shapes. I'm looking for a kind of anything still, but I found a shape. It's this wonderful wizened silver birch here, and I really do like it. Now, I've walked around this for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or so, pretty much all around. I haven't looked at it in that direction yet. I haven't been down that way from over there. Does that mean anything to you when I'm pointing around stupidly? Probably not. But when I just wander a little down this path, what I really liked was the shape of it from here. But what really screws it up is this pine tree. You can see at an angle there, because through the lens, that just looks like distortion. I mean, it really does. It's I'll take a shot and put it up in a sec. But yeah, it just looks like, because really what I want to do with this silver birch is, you can probably just about see it's got some beautiful greeny yellow at the top of it still, and I wanted to kind of look up so we could get that in the frame, and it's totally ruined by the apparent lens distortion of that tree. It's not lens distortion, it's the tree. So instead, I'm just shooting it kind of straight on here. I'm not looking up here, as you may be able to see, because, well, there's just too much brightness above it. It's the thing that will ruin the shot. So I'm not getting a great deal of the canopy of that particular tree, which is a shame. I might try one, but I'm pretty certain it's not going to work. You know how wearing gloves makes doing anything virtually impossible, because you just lose that feeling. Well, these are great. They're specially designed photography gloves. They've got magnets on the back of these little thick fingers that keep your fingertips out, and when it's cold again, you just pop your tipsies away, and it's wonderful. They're by Valeray, and I thoroughly recommend them. They are very good. Now, I'm not just saying that because Valeray were very good enough to give me a pair of these at the tail end of last year. They are genuinely brilliant things. I absolutely cannot fault them. They're great, and I don't like wearing gloves. You've seen me take photos already today without wearing gloves. I've got to put them on because the tips of my fingers are really cold, and I don't mind putting them on because I've got access. You know, it's great. Anyway, I've got a scene just here that I think might work. So I've been lazy to a degree here because I'm using the central column rather than getting more of the legs out. That's absolutely fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using a central column on a stable tripod. Why the heck not? If you found your position and you just want that little bit of height, it's senseless playing about with the legs and then finding that position again. This works fine, especially if you're using a 2-second timer. So don't be afraid of using a central column. Just know its limitations. It's a simple enough scene. I have, hold on, let's just put it briefly into, here's the problem, is I put it into video. Oh heck, I haven't tied it all up either. Jam, there we go. If I put it into video mode, it changed the aspect ratio. Okay, so the problem I've got really is this branch up here. that's getting into it. There's not a lot I can do about it. Well, I might be able to get a bit more forward, I suppose, and obliterate it, but tighten it this time. Bloody idiot. There's me talking about don't worry about using the central column. Pillock hadn't tightened the bloody ball head up. I'm going to zoom back in again. Now as I zoom in, that branch isn't so much of a problem because I'm only getting a little bit of it, so I'm not as concerned. I think a 13th of a second is not fast enough to freeze the gentle movement of the breeze, so I'm pushing the ISO up to 800. I would say there's not a great deal of dynamic range in this shot anyway, so I'm not concerned particularly about that, and I'm not going to get any significant noise at that speed either. So F8, focusing on the tree coming across, 2-second timer, bam. Don't know whether it's any good. Back of the camera, I'll process it, put it up. Whether it's any good or not, and you tell me what you think of it. This is one of those shots that for some reason I thought looked good on the back of the camera. I'm not so certain about it now. Probably just a touch confusing. Yeah, there's separation, but heck, of what? Let me know what you think. You might think that fog like this would just drag me to taking scenes of the entire place, and yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I mean, you can't not. Let me quickly come over here and say, yeah, just look at that avenue. I mean, it's a wonderful sight. Because there's no shelter from the lower ground there, it's rather cold here comparatively. I mean, I've only just got to walk this far, and yeah, it's a lot warmer. And this is where you can see I've got my setup. So let's talk about that. You might expect me to just be shooting some kind of scene, and I do like this scene down here. Turn so you can see it a little better. That's rather nice down there, but I wanted a bit of foreground. So initially I found this stump down here, which is rather nice, and I tried to get that with this beech tree here, because you can see the roots coming out at the bottom. They're really lovely and bright. It looks like they're catching light, but that's actually the colour of them. I thought that's really kind of striking, and it worked nicely as an image. But then I had zero balance. Everything was kind of weighted on that foreground looking down, and the next thing in the shot would have been this tree here. And the balance was all wrong. It was all very left-hand sided. And whilst there might be a way of working that, I'm not sure yet. I spotted another tree stump, which is where I've got the camera set up down here. This is a lovely stump with all of these wonderful brackets of fungus coming out of it, and it's really very, very structural. I'm focusing, just really looking at that with a bit of background going down there into the fog. I think it's a good little photograph. I'm quite pleased with it in the back of camera. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that the back of the camera lies to me. So yeah, if it's come out in any way, shape or form, here's the shot. So let me tell you what I think is wrong with this shot. It's kind of a shot of two halves, and I have a bugbear of these. There's something that I tend to miss in camera when I'm composing. You've got the main stump, but then the rest of the shot is kind of lost behind it. In order to salvage it, I just cropped it to a square. That keeps the focus pretty much just on the stump. Obviously a little bit of vignetting. Let me know what you think of it. One of the things I like to do in woodland is emphasize separation, even in conditions like this, because there's nothing really that's taken our interest in the background here. It's just really soft, misty in colour, and just lovely soft, real soft focus, and that's what we like about fog, isn't it? So I don't see in many cases a benefit to trying to keep that in focus. I mean, it's already soft as it is, so why don't we just take it down even further? So I use a small aperture generally. So what I'm trying to shoot here is this bracken, which is still marvellously green. I mean, there's not a lot of green bracken left here, but there's little patches of it, and the colour of that is wonderful. Then we've got the copper beech leaves just coming out of the tiny little branch at the bottom of that, and then just shooting into the distance. So the shot is all about just colour, really. It's just a lovely colourful woodland scene. Back of the camera is rather nice. I've got two versions of it. I've got a horizontal and a vertical. Yeah, vertical. I keep forgetting my worms. Tell me which one you prefer. I'll put both up. Now you may think that one of the easiest ways of getting a great woodland shot is to just look down. In actual fact, yeah, it is. It's one of the things I talk about in my video, 5 tips on woodland photography. Up here for a link if you haven't already seen it. There's caveats, of course, with this, is that this woodland floor is literally covered in leaves, and beautiful though they are, in their colours and their shapes, their forms, and just the randomness of them, not every time you look down and point the camera are you going to get a great shot. And it's getting a great shot on the woodland, I think, it's not as difficult as trying to find scenes around here, but you've still got to be selective. You can't just snap away and get bangers every time. And what I've got down here is just something, I wasn't looking for it particularly. I was just walking through the area, watching where I was putting my feet, making sure I wasn't trampling on anything, making sure I wasn't going to slip on anything, and just one particular leaf caught my eye. It's because it's still got a lot of frost on it, and the leaf that it's adjacent to has got just little fringes of frost as well, and it's really very, very nice. I hope you agree with me that it's a great image. And you may also be able to see why I call it the couple. Hope you like it. I have a tendency to be incredibly lazy. I mean, much to my detriment, because I've been trying to shoot this tree here, that one, yeah, the colours and everything kind of through it. And I know you probably can't see it terribly well on this screen, but the shot's going to be quite nice. But what I've been doing is avoiding, or trying to avoid, putting the long lens on. Which means I've been basically fighting to get through parts of this bracken here that's still very much, it's green in places. Maybe it's not the bracken that's green. I haven't got my glasses on. It's probably bramble that's green in there. But anyway, it was a stupid thing to do. A couple of seconds playing about, swapping lens. All I needed to do, and you can see I've had to put it really rather high here because I do not want the bracken. Let me flip this. I don't want the bracken in the shot. I just want that shot there. 2-second timer. I don't know whether it's any good. Looks nice. It looks nice on the back of the camera, but you know, it's it's quite some. I've got quite some height on that. Anyway, I'm waffling. Have a look at that shot. Tell me what you think of it. I'm walking the same paths mostly that I would normally walk in these woods, and I'm seeing different shots that never presented themselves before, or perhaps things that interested me before but I would never ever contemplate because they're just too messy. Take a shot through here, for instance. I don't know whether you can see it on the screen, but there's a fallen tree. You can probably just see it in the distance down there. I walk past it quite often and never give it a second thought because, well, it's just incredibly messy. You know, all of the branches on it. It's actually not a fallen tree. It's a branch or a limb that's come off of one of these spruces from high up, and it's still full of its dead pine needles and such. And it's incredibly messy. But the fog manages to simplify, and I don't know. I mean, I've got a shot. I've got maybe 2 or 3. And I don't know whether it's good enough. I'll choose one, maybe more, and put them up and show you on screen. But you know, I would never have considered that before because it's interesting. It's interesting to the eye, but it's not interesting as a photograph because it's just you'd never be able to determine one part from another. But with the fog, it makes a difference. I think perhaps I still should have stayed away from this one. Yes, the fog helps separate it, but I think it's still a little too messy. Let me know what you think. Yeah, it's true, you know, the absolute worst thing you can do is rush. God, the mistakes you make. I've walked in through here, we're losing light fast, which is why I'm rushing. And the fog is wonderful in here. I mean, just separation everywhere, it's great, it's coming back. It's coming back because it's, you know, later in the day and it just hasn't burnt off. And I saw this shot down here, just a little path running through. What kind of what really makes it for me is that fallen log down there. It just provides a bit of interest in that kind of mid-ground. And I'd had my my macro on. And I'd taken a couple of macro shots, which I might show you, I don't know. If I do, they'll be at the end. If I don't, it's because they're crap. And I did try it with the 60mm, but it's just too close. So I thought, well, I've got to put my other lens on. So, like an absolute idiot, I reached into the bag in a rush and put the 40 to 150 on. It's not like, you moron. So lost even more light there. Now, I'm really not sure about this. I'm shooting this quite high. And I think I'm going to do a lower one as well, because if I come up too high here, I don't know whether you can see this on here. I'm not going to put it on live because it'll take too long, but you can see the log there, you can see the path running through. The problem with the log and the path there is that there's too much of a gap between them as you get higher there, so you kind of lengthen that. I don't know that it's too big. I think it's too big, so I'm going to probably come down a little and do another composition on it. Hold on, it's actually, if I come down a foot or so, there, that makes quite, well, I don't know whether it makes all the difference. You see, if I come down too far, I lose the path. Maybe I want to be more here. I don't. So this is how stupid this rushing business is, because I'm now making even more mistakes because I'm trying to muck about with getting a composition here whilst holding this and talking to you. Why I didn't put it on a tripod and just have done with it, I don't know. Cretin. Right. I don't dislike the shot at all. I think what I'm going to end up doing with it is quite a lot of post-processing to make this into something presentable. So if it's come out in any way, shape or form, here's the shot, and this will be the last bit to camera I do this video, because we're just losing light. So if I get any more shots, I'll put them up after this one, and you know, like, subscribe, all of that kind of stuff. I do hope I've been recording this on audio. Yeah, I have. That's good, isn't it? Yeah, like, subscribe, all of that kind of stuff. If you really enjoy the video, please tell your friends, share it on Facebook, share it on Vero, share it everywhere. You know, the channel is beginning to grow quite nicely now, and that's thanks to you guys watching, so thank you very much. So like, subscribe. Have I said this already? Comment, give me some comments down below. I'm rushing, look, I'm rushing. Have a look at the shots. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. So this is the shot that I had the macro lens on for. I'm not going to show you the shot of the path. It just wasn't good enough. There was no definition. It was way too messy. This is a panorama shot with the long lens. Again, I was being lazy. Couldn't be bothered taking it off. Another shot of a twisted silver birch, different from the earlier one, similar location. I like this. Exactly the same location as the last shot, just twisted a little to the right. You'll recognise the trees in the centre.